Hey everyone, and welcome back to Near Sanity's Edge. My name is Lee, and I want to welcome you back to my channel. I'm very new at YouTubing. This is only my third video, and I wanted to say hi to everybody. And today, instead of looking at me, you are looking at a view from my porch. This is a side view, and God has put us in such a beautiful place, that the mountains and everything, and I'm just so thankful that I get to look at this view every day. Last time I told you a little bit about kind of my history with fibromyalgia and depression and everything, and so today I thought maybe I'd talk a little bit about some of the things that I'm doing to try to fight the fibromyalgia and kind of, to move on with my life and keep moving and not give into it. That's a really good thing. You can't just give into the fibromyalgia and just give up. Yes, when I do flare up, I do give into it to a point. I rest and I go through it and try not to fight, kind of listen to my body and not fight what's going on. I don't have this all wrote down. I'm just doing it from my memory, so I may go a few times. I'm sorry about that. So some of the things I'm doing, one of the biggest thing that has helped me through this is God. My faith in God and in Jesus Christ is what has driven me to keep going, God has been so faithful to me and been able to He stayed right with me through all of this, even at times when I didn't pay attention to Him, and He's always been there. And even though I have to go through this, He gives me the strength to get through it. I was even at my darkest moments, when the time when I was bedridden and nobody could help me with my pain, He was the one who did. God was with me, and He, all those nights that I prayed, and sorry about that. There's a farmer's down the road that raises geese, and they're all stirred up, so you'll hear them quacking in the background. Anyway, prayer is a big thing that gets me through. In my Bible studies, and when I see how God was faithful to Job and to David and other ones who hurt and who had depression, it was easy. It makes it easier for me to know that I'm not alone, and that I can get through this. And it seems like whenever I need it, God always sends somebody or a passage or a song. I hear a song that just uplifts my spirit and helps me get through this. My faith in Christ is one of the things that helps me through it. Sorry about this, guys. My brain sometimes I lose my train of thought, and that's part of the fibromyalgia. You just kind of sometimes just lose where you're at and what you're doing, and which is very frustrating, especially when you're around people who don't understand fibromyalgia. My family knows it, and they kind of laugh at me and kind of laugh with me, and tease me a little bit, and it gets me going again, and eventually I remember what I was talking about. So I was talking about things that help me. Another thing that helps, another thing I want to talk about is diet. Everybody's going to tell you, do this, do that, no carbs, no fat, no sugar, no this, no that. Not one thing works for every person. I'm not the only one in my family that has fibromyalgia. My mom does, and it's so funny because the medicines that work for me may not work for her. The medicines that work for her are ones that I cannot take. you know, the things that work for her don't help me. And some things do, some things don't. So every person is different. Um, Diet, what has helped me? Um, I went off of aspartame because everybody was saying you got to get off aspartame. That's what's causing your fibromyalgia. Well, to be honest, I didn't notice a single difference from being off of it. But since I know it's not good for you, I'm staying off of it. I've been off of it for probably 5 or 6 years, maybe more. Um, Other things I've played with diet-wise back and forth. I know that gluten does not agree with me well. I tend to bloat and to get inflammation and just don't feel good when I have a lot of gluten in my diet. So I've been experimenting with it. I found that I can have gluten maybe once every couple weeks, and I'll do fine. Like I could have pizza, so and I'll do fine if that's it. So that's mainly what I do. I'm mainly gluten free, but I do have some here and there. I just can't completely not have it because I just can't. I grew up, you know, on bread and things like that. So, you know, breads and sweets I'll have every once in a while, but I try to avoid to the, you know, most of the time. Another thing that I just recently found that helps is going off of caffeine. I didn't think it would affect me much, but it seems to. It was affecting my blood pressure, and I was getting lightheaded and everything, and so it seems to. So I am caffeine free now. I've been caffeine free for about a month, and that's one of the hardest things. I don't know. I will probably cheat and have some caffeine at some point, but not like coffee or tea or anything like that. It'll probably be like a little bit of chocolate. But I'm trying to stay off of it for a while and get it completely out of my system. Another thing diet-wise that I do that I just found out is milk. Everybody says, you know, dairy. I love dairy. I love milk. So this is one of the hardest things for me is to give up milk. But I've been doing experiments with it. I found that I went for a couple weeks without it, and I had some, and found out that when I had it the next morning, I was very stiff, had trouble getting out of bed more. I was tired all day long. So now I'm trying to avoid milk most of the time. I will probably still have ice cream every once in a while, but for the most part, I am going to avoid it. Another thing I'm trying to avoid is simple sugars, candy things. I went 3 months or 4 months with very little simple sugars, and then over Christmas I kind of fell off the wayside. I was eating sweets, Christmas cookies and all that. I had gluten and sugar, and I felt horrible. So January 1st, I went off of most of the sugar. I still have a little bit every once in a while, but for the most part, I stay off of the refined sugar. I'll have, I'm not so strict that I completely stop having the things that I can't have that disagree with me, because if I get a real craving for something and if I don't have it, I will eat everything else in the house until I find it. So that's one of the things, I always give myself a little bit of grace, and I'll know that it's going to affect me, but if I'm really, really craving it, I'll have it. But another thing I'm doing is drinking a lot more water. Water is very, very good for you, and some people can't drink it very much. I seem to be doing really well with it. In fact, I'm really, really thirsty a lot of times. I have to drink over a gallon of water a day because of my kidneys right now. So, my chronic kidney disease. So that's fun, trying to get that much water in. Most days I do okay. Some days are not quite as good. You can't always, sometimes you're just not as thirsty. But lately I've been so thirsty and everything. So, let's see, is that it? I think that's about it with the, a big thing that I gave up. 127 days ago. You can tell that how hard this is for me because I keep count of the days that I've been off of this. I gave up McDonald's sweet teas. That was my all-time favorite thing. I loved McDonald's sweet teas, but I realized it was so much sugar and caffeine, and it just was not good for me to have that much. So I am 127 days with no sweet tea. So that's what works for me. It may not work for you. I would suggest experimenting, trying, eliminate, I did a elimination detox diet, and then I would take and add one thing in and try it for a couple weeks, see what it did. You know, some things I knew immediately, okay, you can't have that. Other things, it took a little while to either to convince myself that, yeah, no, I couldn't have that, or for the symptoms to, sometimes it was things that added up into my, you know, if I could have sugar, but if I had too much, then it was too much. So my thoughts is, if for diet, experiment, see what works for you, see what don't. I mean, you may be one of those lucky people who only has to eliminate one thing, or you may be one of those people that's going to have to eliminate a lot of things, or you could be like me in the middle, that, you know, you eliminate some things, but you know, you still have a good variety of things to eat. And but don't let other people tell you, hey, you have to do this. If you do this, you're going to do it. No, no, no. There is not one diet out there that's going to help you, especially if you have fibromyalgia and other chronic diseases. It's an autoimmune thing, and you know, each of our bodies is completely different, and our bodies respond differently to different things. So it's you know, you have to play around and see what helps you. I've been dealing with fibromyalgia all my life. That's 47 and a half years, and I can tell you that what works for somebody else doesn't always work for me. So, you know what, say, hey, thanks, you know, I've already tried that, or hey, thanks, I'll look into it. But you know what, you don't have to follow everybody else's advice. My advice for you is to keep trying, keep doing what you can do, and find the thing that works for you. So that's it for today. That was our talk on diet and other things that help you. Me, it's my faith, and it's my in diet. Tomorrow I'll talk about a few other things that I'm doing that have helped me. So I will see you all later, and I hope you come back to visit near Sanity's Edge.